Hello coin collectors, welcome back to the All Change Review. Today we're looking at the 50p to celebrate the oldest anniversary we've looked at so far, which is the 950th anniversary of the Battle of Hastings. Now, we know some details of the Battle of Hastings from a number of different sources, but one of the most famous is the Bayeux Tapestry, which was the inspiration for this design. But we'll come on to that shortly, as I just want to cover off a bit of a brief history of the Battle of Hastings. So we head back to January 1066, when Edward the Confessor died, and as he had no kids, this meant there were several people who thought they could take the throne. The main one was Harold, who was crowned shortly after King Edward's death. But then along came the Vikings, particularly the Norwegian king, who was also called Harold, but spelt differently. And after a couple of battles, Harold, not the Norwegian king, but the first one, was victorious. But while King Harold's troops were recovering from battling the Vikings up north, William invaded from the south, and Harold's troops had to hotfoot it back down country. Now, he was able to pick up some more troops on the way, but Harold did try to do a surprise attack. But there were a couple of problems with this. Firstly, his troops were a bit knackered from having to march all the way down country so quickly, and secondly, his troops were spotted by William's scouts, and William's troops headed out to meet them from where they were based in Hastings to the town that is now called Battle. And actually, the Battle of Hastings took place in Battle and not Hastings, which isn't confusing at all. But it also took place on the 14th of October, and the battle commenced. As with all battles, it was bloody and brutal, and Harold died. There were a few smaller skirmishes afterwards, but that was the main one which concreted William as victorious, crowned as king on Christmas Day 1066. And at the actual site of the battle, in Battle, William founded a monastery, and apparently the high altar of the Abbey church was on the spot where Harold died. So, as I said before, there's a number of different sources for this, but the main one is the Bayeux Tapestry. But it's not a tapestry, as a tapestry is woven, and it's actually an embroidered linen. So some historians actually refer to it as the Bayeux embroidery, but I'm going to actually keep referring to it as the tapestry, as it's what it's commonly known as, and I am quite common. And it's the tapestry where John Bergel has taken his inspiration from for this coin. If that name seems familiar, particularly my mispronunciation, it's because we've actually covered his work in previous coins, as he did the Mary Rose £2 coin, the Magna Carta £2 coin, and we'll be looking at the Shakespeare £2 coins in a couple of weeks, which he also did. And you can see here, he's gone for the famous figure from the tapestry of Harold with an arrow in his eye. What's strange about this though is that the arrow was actually added to the tapestry later when it was restored. Now when I say later, I mean in the 1700s, as the tapestry was already 600 plus year old at this time. But looking at the original holes in the linen, some think it may have originally been a lance there and not an arrow depicted. But that's what John has gone for here, as it's what is actually instantly recognisable. It's a nice little design, but not my favourite, as it is a little obvious. But then I'm not sure how else he could have gone about it, maybe depicting an overview of the troop movements in the battle, but it's not an easy one. Anyway, let's move on to value. Now this is a common one, and there were a lot of them put into circulation, 6,700,000 in fact. And this can actually be seen in the collector's value as well. I was looking at the last 5 sold online, they went for an average of £1.13, which is more than I was expecting, but then they are still a new coin, and he came out last year, and so I take it people are still buying them and looking to fill the holes in their collection. But as we come to the end of today's All Change review, we ask, what do you think of this design? And what would you have done differently for the design if you could have done? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you found today's video informative, why not give us a like and subscribe for future content. But until next time coin collectors, thanks for watching and keep collecting. Bye!